and welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by MotiV8 Training and Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hello crew and welcome to episode 156 of the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. I am your host Belinda Risley and today my special guest is Jess Golding. A little bit more about Jess in a second to kick off, but just a bit of an update what's happening at MotiV8 Training. Our 12-week pre-season of Motorsport fitness program is about to kick off early November. So if you're looking to improve your fitness for 2024 race season and you currently don't have a program, our online program is available early November. Hopefully you can join us. And of course, if you are looking for sponsorship and you're needing any assistance, please make sure you get in touch with us over at win@motivatetraining.com.au. If you race over to today's show notes, there is a free guide about getting started with motorsport fitness and also some benefits that you can offer. Actually, I might put in the sponsorship strategy checklist so you can get more of an idea of what's included, putting together basically a program for your race season in 2024. All right, hey, let's get started with today's show. I am joined by Jess Golding. The wonderful Jess, for those who don't know about Jess, she is a second-generation kart racer with over 25 years of kart and car racing experience competing at a club, state, national, and an international level. She's got an extensive background in the sports business world. She holds a first-class honours degree in sports marketing and she's worked for international race teams, major sporting brands and organisations such as the Supercars. Jess is currently a blue card holder for Karting Australia, accredited driver training and a level 4 karting official. She heads up the Ipswich Kart Club Junior Development Program and she's worked with hundreds of drivers to help improve them on and off the track. I'm very excited to welcome Jess Golding to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. Hi Jess, welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a little while since we've first touched base. I don't know, was that about 6 months ago? And finally our schedules have collided and we've been able to, take the time. So it's really nice to finally meet you face to face. Thank you.
Yes, and I love your story and we're going to dive more into it today. So tell us a little bit about you for those who don't know.
Yeah, so my name is Jess Golding. I own a go-kart racing team called Jess Golding Motorsport. We're based out of Ipswich and Willowbank. For those that have driven out to QR or out that way, you may have seen the big marquee, which has got some extremely awesome road presence. Basically what we do is driver training. Our whole philosophy is about helping new karters navigate their way through things and in the best way possible. So we sort of fast track that learning and development, and that's pretty much what our philosophy is: driver training, junior development programs, helping new karters. So that's what the business side does. But for people that do not know me, I've been around karting for my whole life. My dad used to race and I just fell in love with the sport. I would go with him every single time I could, like a lot of kids do. And I was really lucky that Santa bought me a go-kart when I was 10 years old. The rest is history, you know. I sort of look back now, I'm 34 now. I've won a South Pacific Junior Championship, Australian Championship, represented Australia twice. I've followed the car racing dream, worked with motorsport teams in Australia and overseas. Yeah, but a wealth of experience and knowledge. And came back to the world of karting and just really excited to give back and teach people, you know, the way that I think things should be taught and, give it back to the community, and that's kind of what we're all about in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love it. Now, I do have to ask, are you related to Jimmy?
Oh, my God. I actually saw him on the weekend up at Townsville, actually, and I said, hey, James, we've known each other for a very, very long time. Obviously, for those that don't get that, James Golding races supercars. No, we are not related. They're a distant other family called Golding. It is kind of funny when I watch supercar races that I see Jay Golding. I do have a bit of a giggle, but he gets the same question. I said to him, mate, do you get the same question? He's like, all the time, especially now your marquee's gone up. And we're driving to QR for testing people like, oh, is Jess your sister or cousin? So it was actually quite cool to catch up with him in Townsville. They were doing some driver interviews and stuff at the track for state titles. So no, we're not related, but I sort of go, maybe he wants to, I don't know. He's a good kid, really good kid.
I was like, maybe you guys could do a collab or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get him to come to what we call retro racing, just for a bit of competitive fun, just for all the old school drivers. For those that don't know, karting is a push start thing now. You push a button, but back in the day we had our dads running around the track and push starting us. So maybe we'll see him in one of those. But yeah, it's a good idea. Maybe I'll reach out to him, Golding Squared or something we could call it.
Well, look, it's good PR. Either way, it's good PR, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, I love your last name, mate. He's like, yeah, ditto.
That's right. Set up an affiliation link and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Jess, as you mentioned, you have done a lot of things. What has been your standout achievement in your career to date?
Oh, man. I've always been the kind of person that will give anything a go. The old, say yes and figure it out later. But I'm very much the personality type that's very driven and very competitive, and whether that be in my sporting, my education, or professional life. I don't think I could nail it down to one, but I've done some pretty cool things. So I decided one day that I wanted to join the Australian skeleton team. I was watching the Winter Olympics and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. How do I do that? And for those that don't know skeleton, it's the head first down the ice. Think Cool Runnings, but the ones that run and jump and you go head first. So that was a pretty amazing achievement, sort of reaching out to the Australian Institute of Sport and the Winter Olympic Institute and then saying, okay, come to Calgary, and did 2 years of that representing Australia. That was pretty amazing. Random. I know, so random. Yeah, it was about 20 kilos ago when I was very, very fit and younger, much younger. But my teammate at the time, Jacqueline Narracott, actually just won the silver medal at the Olympics. So she came second at the Olympics. So that was pretty cool to see that. So that's pretty awesome. But, man, I've worked in international race teams. I've followed the race car journey myself, working with drivers, Sebastian Bourdais. That was pretty cool. I've got to live life big, but starting this race team has been a journey, and we will always continue to learn. And I think at the moment, that's the main focus. So all of these junior development programs we're doing, the driver training, the race team, that's the new path at the moment. So it's been a wild ride so far.
Well, you mentioned that your great karting success. After that, you headed over and did Formula BMW in the UK and Asia. How come you did that path? Like, what kind of, was it an opportunity arose, or was that something you wanted to do because you had a bigger goal at the end of the day? Yeah,
look, I think as we're young, and I think I was 16, 17 at the time, I was racing very competitively in karting, and there was, at one Australian Championships, we used to just have a singular event. It was a one-off event. There was some Formula BMW scouts from Asia there, and a few of us got invited over to do a test day in Sepang. When I say test day, it was like a solid camp of about a week with lots of drivers, and then one person got a fully funded drive. So that was my first sort of experience in the car racing world. And then a couple of years later, I was racing over in New Zealand, racing in a category called Formula 100. And we did very, very well. I think I finished fourth in that final, starting way back because we had some issues. But that's against like the best drivers in the world, like the Cunninghams, Vanderdrift, those sorts of names. And people can Google them and we'll go, wow, okay, they're pretty impressive drivers. And again, that scouting team was there. And they invited us to a test in Pukekohe. So we did that. Yeah, and then it sort of progressed. We were like, oh, what's this Formula BMW thing? Daniel Ricciardo did it. A lot of people went down the Formula Ford route, but we thought wings and slicks. I loved the grip. I loved that feeling of that car, and we did a lot of testing in Asia with a race team called E-Rain, and then I also did some testing with 2 race teams in the UK. Fortec Motorsport and Motor World were the names of those race teams. And yeah, I mean, we just didn't get the budget together. Car racing is another world. And
Yep.
Australia wasn't really ready to take that risk, I don't think, on the girl thing.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it just wasn't meant to be. So we didn't get the funding together for that, but we did do 3 rounds of the Australian Formula Ford Championship, which was incredible, but a massively different race car, going from a sequential gearbox to then an H pattern gearbox, wings and slicks in Formula BMW to, the race tyres in a Formula Ford are the same for the wet and the dry. Super slippery, and I just was like, okay. I had one day and then was like, yep, Dad's like, we're racing in the Australian Championship. I was like, oh, wow, there's some levels before that. But look, always just throwing me in. Yeah, thanks, Dad. Always throwing me in the deep end. But yeah, that didn't go too well.
Didn't like your driving style.
Completely different driving style. Yeah, it didn't suit me whatsoever. So just sort of went back to the karting thing and studying, and that's how I ended up in the UK. So yeah, wow, that's a long time ago now.
I know, it's like about 18 years ago, really. Like
yeah.
16 to 18 years ago. And have you ever had an experience in the tin tops before?
No.
You like the open wheelers? That's just driving style. Yep.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I mean, I did have a lot of driver coaching in tin tops because obviously there's a passenger and they can sit there and do things. So I did a lot of driver training with a guy called Rob Wilson in the UK. Now, for people in the motorsport world, he's a renowned driver coach and smokes like a chimney. And is just extremely talented, does driver training for Formula One drivers, people making their way up to that journey, also the royal family.
Wow.
So, yeah, really impressive guy. And so I did a lot of stuff with him, and I also did some stuff with Jeff Brabham. So he taught me how to heel and toe, so we did some driver training. He ran a he ran a BMW driver course. And he invited me out to help me heel and tow when I hadn't even had my driver's license, I was like, how do you drive a manual? Yeah. So that was pretty special.
We're talking about different parts. That's amazing. And again, it would just be about, obviously, your attitude, and you can already hear it, is that you've always just said yes. And we'll deal with it later. We'll make it up as we go along. So I love it. And obviously, look at all the doors and opportunities that it's open for you. So well done on being brave and saying yes, and especially so long ago when it wasn't about this whole big female within motorsport. So that's good. Now, we're to talk about different pathways. Now, obviously, with junior driver coaching that you're currently doing, I know one of the biggest questions that I always get asked is, where to after kartings? Do you have a direct relationship or career advice about people working out where to go, whether it is Formula Ford, whether it is tin tops, Aussie race cars, wherever? I'm thinking that you must get asked that question a lot yourself, working with the same sort of athletes.
Yeah, I do, absolutely. And look, my answer to that is, karting is a sport in itself. And it's a sport that, we have professional paid drivers overseas, and, in the world, Aussie drivers in karting are killing it overseas at the moment. You see Max Walton's just come back, absolutely smashing it over there, and then wins a state title here on the weekend. So, in itself, there's a lot of levels in karting. But I think really, if I sort of look back and go, what's the path and what's the advice, my advice would be not to rush it. There is this sort of invisible timeline or something that this clock that's like you have to do something by a certain age, or therefore it's not, that opportunity is not there for you. And I think that's really sad. And I sort of see drivers come in now and they're like, oh, I want to get to this level. I'm like, but enjoy the now as well. Like, this is a process. This is the building blocks. And, you know, it's very hard to tell a 16-year-old kid that. And if I could tell my, 14, 15, 16-year-old self that, I'd just say, enjoy the karting, enjoy the journey, and just see where that goes, and take the opportunities as they come, and learn a lot from them. We never, ever, ever stop learning. And, in business, in racing, technology changes, tires change, engines change. So, yeah, that would be my advice. But also to know that sponsorship is a hard thing. So be prepared to financially fork out a lot of the money yourself, and be prepared for those hard conversations. It's not a cheap sport. Even at karting now, we try to keep it as affordable as possible and provide value for money. But I still see people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in karting. So, yeah, really know what your plan is, but enjoy the journey is probably the advice I would say.
And budget.
Like your budget. And your budget. Absolutely.
Be realistic about the budget. Like, don't mortgage your house to do your hobby.
A lot of people do, a lot of people do. And that's, that really scares me. And I would never, ever ask someone to do that. Everyone's different. Everyone, has this dream, and maybe we can blame Drive to Survive for that.
I know.
But hey, fantastic series. But and also that, motorsport isn't just about being the driver as well. There is so much, so many opportunities there. And I think, I look at all of these women programs that are out there at the moment. It's not just about being the driver. There's opportunities in PR, marketing, sponsorship, TV, broadcasting. Absolutely everything is available to you. And if you have a motorsport background, you have an advantage because you kind of know what's going on. So I think that's also important as well, and has helped me work in race teams overseas in PR roles, because I can kind of speak the speak. I know what they're going through. I know what's happening. And then working for the supercars here, I can talk to, I don't work for them anymore, but when I did for 5 years, I could speak to clients and go, hey, this is what's happening. And they go, wow, you know so much about this. It's like, I literally used to race these guys that are here. So,
Yeah, and
so
I
helps somebody.
No, but I too, like within the mentoring program, say that like you need to no, you don't have to be born and bred into motorsport, but it definitely does help. It definitely does give you a small advantage to understand whether you started at karting, Formula Ford, whatever, even if it's sim racing now and coming across, but you have to understand the sport. And again, thanks to Drive to Survive, a lot of them are coming through and they've gone, no, motorsport's never heard of it before until like the last 18 months. And now I really want to go work in there. And I'm like, but it's just not that. There's an actual process. And
there is a process. Yeah, there's definitely a process.
There's a process. And there's things you need to know. But you're not only a successful motorsport athlete, you do have your honours in sports marketing. You just dropped that you worked at supercars before and overseas. Yeah. Can you tell us about some of those roles that you successfully worked in over your little short career?
Yeah, the career to date. So, I studied sports marketing in the UK at Coventry University, graduated first in my class. So I came out with honours. So it's a bit different how they work that out over there. They call it first class with honours. At the time, I was working 3 or 4 different jobs just to sort of pay for everything.
Pay for uni, live.
Just your random things. I had support at the time, but I did work in a race team and did their social media, their press releases. So got really exposed to sort of the behind the scenes there. That was really cool. Then sort of worked as a intern at Oaks Consultancy was the name of the company, and they did a lot of grants, which was really interesting because for sporting organisations that required grants to survive, not sponsored, not commercial stuff, but that was really kind of interesting. And then, I've worked for supercars. I worked for the Queensland Performing Arts Centre. I was their sponsorship manager, did a lot of activation stuff, learnt a lot. worked for Canterbury selling jerseys, when you school leavers jerseys, the person's like, hey, but, so I did that as well. So I've been exposed to a lot of different areas in the sport and business world, but I've always learned a lot through those experiences and found that in myself that I am better working for myself and in
Me
something
too.
that I'm really passionate about. Some people aren't designed to work for themselves. They can't motivate themselves to get going. And it's like, you are the person that makes the stuff happen. So the vision of Jess Golding Motorsport, it didn't just happen. That's ideas and branding and all the experience that the sports marketing degree has given me. And so I've done quite a lot actually in the professional world. Yes.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying, like all of that experience has helped you now come back and establish this new business. Is that with your husband? Did I read that correct?
So Andrew Farlow, so we're engaged. So we're getting married
fantastic.
We're getting married in December. He's
Beautiful.
a massive supporter. So he also races karts. So that helps. And he says he's the luckiest bloke alive to have a fiance that loves karting, because I think a lot of the boys are very jealous that they can't go out there every weekend. But I'm like, let's go, like, let's watch this and let's do that. So yes, he's very much hands-on, very involved. I have this joke that I sort of tell all the time that he's sick of talking about the color blue because that's obviously our biggest color. And it was really important that it wasn't this shade or too weak or too black or whatever. And it's just
boys don't understand that.
For months I was like, hang on, do you think that's the right one? Do we need to go? And he was just like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I swear, just please stop. But he is very hands-on with like the technical side of things, bouncing ideas. But we've got fantastic partnerships with industry. Like Patrizi, of course, is one of our biggest supporters. We're a baby Birrell team. We talk to each other, share setup information, all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of support out there whilst we're growing. And then we've also got great partnerships with the Ipswich Kart Club with our junior development program as well. So, there's a lot of people in the background or foreground with all the aspects of business. It's not just rock up to the track, but there's a lot of thought that goes into how we're going to do things. What we offer, what we do, and we're all continually learning. It's not just set up and driving and stuff like that. It's, how do we make the business better? We're in our first year. What is it now, July? We're 7 months in. Yeah. 7 months in, yeah. So, when I say 7 months in, we're 7 months in of the big marquee sort of team. We just sort of had pop-up tents and did one-off events back last year. But, I go, wow, it's been a huge learning curve. So, we'll continue to learn, continue to take feedback and just get bigger and better.
But that's business. And that's
absolutely
business. So any business, whether it's motorsport or non-motorsports, that's just how a business rolls, that we're always learning, always developing, and always involving, getting new partners, making mistakes, and learning from those mistakes. But that's how we have growth, and then that's how we get bigger and better. So what made you want to get into starting a driver training school?
Yeah, okay. So obviously I have a very extensive background in karting, and I didn't race for about 7 years when I was working in Sydney, when I worked for supercars. So it was just becoming too hard traveling back and forward. So I didn't race for a very long time. But when the global pandemic came in and there was redundancies and whatnot, I sort of got back into karting because I moved back to Queensland. And I was sort of hanging about, and I got back into racing, and then I was in an incident where my rib was broken, but I still wanted to be sort of around the track. So a lot of people started asking me, oh, hey, can you do some driver coaching with my kid? Like, we're new. And I'd sort of start talking to people, and it sort of evolved very organically, that the business itself and the driver coaching. But I saw that mostly it was the little ones that, you know, the new parents that are like, oh man, we just bought all of this stuff. And so that's kind of how it started. And then it's just grown with some ideas that I've had about junior development and training and coaching and putting in those foundations. It really happened very organically. And then I sort of saw a gap in the market, and I thought, a lot of new karters don't have a home. A lot of race teams, a lot of kart shops do a very, very good job at servicing different markets. And I thought, for those that have seen Robots, the movie, See a Need, Feel a Need. So I go, hey, you know, we could really do something here. You know, Andrew, myself, my dad, we have a lot of contacts that are very, very experienced and can help fast track those learning mistakes that we had. You know, you get into a new sport and you go, okay, I didn't know there was this much to know. So we sort of fast forward that for everybody. But it happened very organically. And the junior holiday program, which is very, very successful with Patrizzi course, is a major partner of that. Supercars has come on as a partner of that. And also Monday Nissan, who do like healthy snacks. So along with Ipswich Kart Club. So that's growing, super popular, and they learn so much. So yeah, happened just everything just sort of, you know, kept rolling. And I was like, yeah, okay, how do we make this bigger and better, and keep coming out with ideas and learn from feedback and keep pushing through. So that's pretty much what we continue to do.
Sorry, what's the most rewarding part of your job or your career, business?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny when I sort of fell into all this. I never really planned to do it, and I thought, I didn't know that, you know, I would be good at coaching, but turns out I am very, very good at it. But the most rewarding part is when it clicks for the drivers, and like, you know, they come in and they keep telling me their PBs. Oh, I smashed my PB. Like, that's awesome for me. Or when I am at a driver training camp and I teach the parents, you know, some little techniques, they go, oh my God, like I haven't been able to get my kid to break this but this time, and now you've just unlocked this whole world, and I didn't know that they were capable of that. So that's been really, really rewarding to see the drivers that come through that succeed, and that I had a little part in that, no matter how big or small. So for me, I didn't think I would be so smushy about it, but it does mean a lot to me to see them progress and to do really, really well.
If you weren't doing driver coaching, which I think is your passion, what would you be doing?
Man, I don't know. You know, I was working in the corporate sector for so long, and it just wasn't for me. So I would, you know, if I wasn't doing this and didn't have the support to continue doing this, I'd probably be working in a corporate job somewhere, mildly happy, racing karts as a hobby. But I think I would have always found my way back to karting, and done something there. So, yeah, I never sort of go, I don't like thinking like that. I know that's a weird thing to say, but no, I'm always like, okay, we're in this now. Yeah, that, you know, your life sort of takes
you now in the present.
Yeah, you know, your life will take you in different ways, and who knows where Jess Golding Motorsport's going to be. You know, we're 7 months in, we're learning a lot, we're doing lots of stuff, but, you know, fast forward, who knows what that's going to look like, what sort of opportunities and ideas are going to come from this, and we'll just continue to grow and continue to do things the best that we can. And I think that's the biggest thing, ideas. I'm a massive ideas person. So if I wasn't in this, I don't know, I've no idea where I'd be. In some corporate job and happy, probably.
That's right. I have to agree with you. I do feel like those that have done a marketing background, like myself, we are more the ideas person, and it's great that we've got a team that can help us implement, because I find that's my biggest challenge, I guess, is implementing all of my crazy ideas and things that I want to action. So I concur with you, sister. I concur.
Yeah, I always have ideas, and Andy's like, oh man, can we just like focus on this one? I'm like,
yeah, that's right.
Yes, but also can we work on this one and this one? And, yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned that you do the driving training based in Queensland. You have those fantastic junior programs that you're currently working on. How can people learn more about those programs?
Yep. So we have a pretty amazing website. So if you go to www.jessgoldingmotorsport.com.au, you'll be able to find all the information on our driver training programs, our packages, all about us. If you want to learn about who we are, what we're about, we're super transparent with stuff. So that's a big thing for our race team is transparency. So you'll see all our pricing there. Nothing's a secret. If you've got any questions, people always welcome to come up and ask me. I'm not about holding back information. So yeah, all the information can be found on the website or follow us on our socials and keep up to date with what's happening in the race team.
And what socials do you guys have and what's the handle?
Yeah, so we've got Facebook, TikTok, Instagram are the biggest ones that we're using, and it's just at Jess Golding Motorsport.
Fantastic, and well done on being able to get that handle on everything that you have.
Yeah, that was good thing it wasn't just like Jay Golding, or me and James Golding would be having some chats, I think. So
yeah.
Yes, no, I was very, very lucky with that. It's a pretty unique, strong name. So that name will be there forever. And as I get married in December, my personal name will change to Farlow, but my business name will always be Jess Golding Motorsport, because that's what people know me by, and been in this game for 25 years racing. So that will never change.
That's right. That's what initially, like, I'm a Hamilton, and my Hamilton name is renowned with Harding as well. And I was always Hamilton for a few years, like many years. And then, I don't know, I just kind of got old and turned 40 and went, you know what? Doesn't matter. Like, my name's like, my name's Risley. So I now go by Risley.
You're not old. 40's not old.
No, that was a few years ago, Dally. That's a few years ago. Anyway, it's all about you, Jess. Thank you so much for telling us the story. I'm so excited for your, next chapter. Like, this motorsport career coaching thing is really exciting for you. As you mentioned, like, you're one of the only female business that is operating within Australia. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. It's watch this space. I always say to my race team, eyes forward. So, learn from your mistakes, and we'll keep pushing forward, keep coming up with new ideas, and who knows where we'll be in another 12 months. But I really appreciate the support and all of our partners and our valued team members. It's been fantastic. So really, really appreciate it, and taking the time to have a chat with me today. It's been fun.
Fantastic. A few injured, that's okay. Yeah. We'll get through. Here comes the bus. We'll all be at it. Anyway, Jess, thank you so much. We'll try and pencil in 12 months time to get you back onto the show and have an update of what you've achieved in the last 12 months.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Jess, have a fantastic week. See ya.
You too. See you later.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at MotiV8Training.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out, and you'll go into a monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at MotiV8Training.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at MotiV8T. Until next time, take care.